So today I want to talk about The Secret History by Donna Tartt. My girlfriend read this book and she absolutely fell in love with it, so I had to read it too to know what the hype was about. And I walked past this book a couple of times in bookstores. I was just never interested enough to pick it up. I planned on reading it, but after she got into it that much, it really got pushed up my TBR by quite a lot, and yeah, I had to read it. And now I want to talk about it, but before we get into my review, I want to give you a small heads up. This video is not going to be a deep analysis of every philosophical reference in this book. There are probably a lot of references that went right over my head, so I'm not going to attempt on giving you a review about things that I don't understand. The whole story is told from the perspective of Richard. We get into university, he wants to study ancient Greece, he learns that the professor is quite picky with his students, he only has 5 people in his current ancient Greece class. He manages to get into the class. The first half of this book feels so magical in my opinion. Richard is surrounded by those 5 students who are quite richer than him, and they basically live those Greek tragedies and philosophical books, and they are so invested in them. You get sucked into this world that they are living in. You notice that every other student kind of finds them weird because they are so invested in their class, and it does not help them that their professor completely isolates them from other students and other classes because he wants them to study only with him. And I have to admit that I immediately wanted to be a part of this group. I wanted to join Richard with the others and just live that magical academic life at the university where you just study with your friends and enjoy something that you are passionate about and talk about it and just have fun with them and enjoy life together with them. It just felt so magical, and I can understand why the whole dark academia theme is a thing. But then the big switch happens where we went from the philosophical world of ancient Greece and all the books and just the whole aesthetics to the reality, the dark, cold and problematic world. The switch was so shocking to me. That part is probably one of my favorite things about this book. You have the beautiful world that you want to be part of, and then the horrible thing happens and everything just crumbles. Nothing is like you expect it to be. It's like someone wakes up from a beautiful dream that you don't want to leave, and you now have to deal with something that is just a pure nightmare. If you want to read The Secret History, you should be aware that there are 600 pages. Some people say that it is too short, some people say that it was too long. I would agree that there are some scenes that were a little bit too long, but in general I like the pacing of this book. I want to talk more about the characters in detail, but I'm not going to manage that without spoiling you, so spoiler warning. The first impression that I had from our 6 main characters is so different compared to the way I viewed them at the end of the book. It is just so impressive how beautiful and dreamlike everything was and how dark and real everything got at the end. I mean, I really liked all of them at the beginning, well, except for one. And after that, after the second half started with all of the bad things, you just realized how problematic every one of them was and how everyone had their own problems, but you can't talk it down because it's not just simple little mistakes they made. And I want to talk about every last one of them so you can understand those characters in this book and maybe understand me, why I once loved them so much and started to fear them or just was completely shocked by their actions. And for that, I made a list of everything they did that I found really disgusting or horrible or you name it. So, our main characters are Richard, Edmund, Francis, Camilla, Charles, Henry, and our Professor Julian Morrow. I'm just bad with names, so hang on with me. Anyways, let's start with Richard Pappen. Already beginning with the butchering again. Richard found out that his friends killed someone, and instead of going to the police, he started helping them covering it up. Out of nowhere, Richard thought about raping Camilla. Pretty disgusting. He helped murdering Edmund. This time it's not manslaughter, but murder. Yeah, the next one, Edmund, aka Bunny. Let's read out what he has done. He is a sexist, homophobic, arrogant freeloader who blackmailed his friends after he found out that they killed a man accidentally. Which is not really nice, but in my opinion, he is still better than Richard, but yeah, I will rank them at the end, who I think is the worst of them. Let's keep going with Francis. He was part of the manslaughter. He also planned on murdering Edmund. Camilla, also part in manslaughter, murder, sexual relationship with his brother. No comment. Charles, her brother, manslaughter, murder, physical abuse towards his sister and other people. And yeah, sexual relationship with his sister. Again, no comment. Henry, he is basically the leader of the group, so the main guy who planned everything. He did the manslaughter thing, which was an accident, but he never planned on going to the police or confess. And he was the one who did the killing with Edmund by pushing him down a hill. And then he did something else which was quite disgusting, and that was sacrificing a pig and let it bleed out on his body and everyone else around him. That's just disgusting. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. It's just weird and disgusting. There's someone else who I want to mention. That person is their professor, Julian Morrow. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Creepy professor / cult leader who isolated his students and kind of brainwashed them, and he ran away after he found out that the students killed 2 people because he didn't want his reputation to be ruined. So you can see that the whole group is full of bad people, but yeah, now I want to rank them. I would say in my list of the worst people in this group, Edmund would be the last one, which is quite shocking in my opinion, because at the beginning I really thought that he is the main asshole. I really did not like him. He was so arrogant, so sexist, so he's probably also racist. You can probably put that into. He is homophobic. I didn't like him. He was so bad, and he's a real asshole. But when you look back, he is the least worst guy in the group, which says a lot about the group itself. After that, I would rank Francis, because he was part in a manslaughter and murder. Well, just. Richard or Camilla would be the next one. Yeah, I would say Camilla. The whole incest thing was really disgusting and weird, and I did not understand why no one else was mentioning it. I mean, Richard was a little bit shocked after he found out, but everyone else seemed to not care. But yeah, she was also involved in the manslaughter thing and murder, and she did not really care that much. I mean, yeah, she was a little bit quieter after everything happened, but she never planned on confessing about the things that she did or what the group did. The next one in my list would be Richard. I mean, the whole rape thoughts that he had about Camilla just came out of nowhere, and they were so creepy, and I did not understand where it really just came out of nowhere. He was talking with her, and then there it was. He just thought about, should I do it? And it was so creepy. And then there's the whole manslaughter thing again. He was not part of it. I mean, he just found out that his friends killed someone, and he just helped them hide the fact that they killed someone. I mean, he wasn't there when it happened, but he kind of is now involved with it because he plans on hiding the body with them. Not the body, but the fact that they killed him. It's just weird to me that he immediately thought about helping them, and that his first thought was not to go to the police and tell them that his classmates just killed someone. Because of that, I would say that he is now part of the whole manslaughter thing. But yeah, he was definitely part of the whole Edmund murder thing. I mean, he planned it too, and he helped them, and he was there when it happened. So yeah, that's totally on him. The second worst guy in the group, in my opinion, is Charles. I mean, he was there for the manslaughter thing. He murdered Edmund. He abused his sister at some point after the whole murder thing happened, and he lost it when the whole police got involved, and he got into drugs and everything, and he started beating his sister and started to hurt everyone around him. And the whole incest thing in general is just, yeah, I think he deserved the second place. Which is weird, because I liked him at some point, but it was before I knew about the whole incest thing and whole abusive part of him. I mean, I quite liked him, and then I really, really hated him. But now let's come to the number one bad guy of the group, and that would be Henry, in my opinion. He was the one who actively killed the first guy. The other ones were just around and saw it happen. He also is the one who came up with the idea of killing Edmund, and he is the one who pushed him to his death. When I think about it, he would have probably killed a couple of more people if he believed that the whole thing would pass easier. I don't know, Henry in general is a really creepy guy, in my opinion, unintentionally. He thinks that he is smarter than he actually is, and you see that through the way how he interacted with the police and how he came up with ideas of killing Edmund, and how Richard had to pull him back and tell him how stupid the idea was, that he talked about poisoning him with mushrooms, but he had no idea how to do it and all of that. I mean, Henry in general, he made you feel safe because he always had an idea. He was the guy you went to when you had a problem, and he was just so secure, and you knew that you were in good hands when he was around. But it was so weird when Henry's first thought was to hide everything because he thought that they were too good for prison, and I just had to laugh when I heard that. Like, he just seemed smart and so mature, and when the first person died and they had to find any kind of solution for that, you really noticed how immature they were and how arrogant and privileged they all were. I mean, that's quite a thing to say, that you are too good for prison, and I don't know, just go to the police, confess, and just deal with the consequences. I mean, it would have been better for them to go to someone and tell them that they accidentally killed someone. I mean, it was just manslaughter, and it was a really weird circumstances under which all of that happened. Yeah, I think Henry made everything 10 times worse with all of his plans. You really liked him at the beginning. Well, I liked him at the beginning. He just made you feel so secure, and he had all of the ideas. I can understand why so many people have a crush on him. I mean, you just feel safe around him. He is the main guy you go to and talk to, and he's so capable and strong and everything. And one thing that annoyed me about Henry a lot is that he never told people all of his plans at once. He constantly said, okay, we meet up there, but he wouldn't tell Richard, and Richard would find out about Francis that Henry said that they would meet up there. Or Charles tells you that Henry told him that you have to do this and that with him. It really got annoying at some point, and really funny when you noticed it. But yeah, again, this is my list. I'm not sure where I will put it out. From the worst person in the group to the least worst person in the group. And I'm actually surprised that Edmund, or Bunny, is so low in my list. I mean, he was generally a bad person. He was sexist, homophobic, arrogant, but those are things that he just said. He never acted on it, and the other people just killed two guys, and yeah, they were kind of okay with it. They never thought about confessing it, and yeah, you can't top murder with just talk, in my opinion. But after telling you who the worst people are in this book, I want to tell you who the best person is, and it's someone that I did not expect to be that high on my list. I mean, that person was okay, in my opinion, when we first met them. They were just not my type of person that I would like to be around. I mean, they party a lot and they enjoy their life in their own way, but after the book got to the end and you saw the whole chaos and everything from our group, you kind of enjoyed the normality that person brought to Richard, and that would be Judy. First, I wasn't sure about her because she was partying a lot and she was taking drugs and she was fun to have around, but someone you couldn't have too long around you without being a little bit annoyed. But after everything that happened in the secret history, all of the murder, all of the hiding, and the pig blood thing, which was really disgusting, and I'm not sure. Yeah, that's also something Henry has done. I mean, how do you come up with the idea of spilling pig blood everywhere? I mean, he had to slaughter a little pig just to do... Anyways, yeah, Judy. She was doing drugs, but she was doing it to herself. She was harming no one. She was just having fun. We just needed more of her in that group to pull everyone out of that cult thing that they developed for themselves there. So that's all I had to say about the characters in this book. The Secret History was really fun to read. It's a long book. It's longer than I expected. It's, I think, 600 pages. When I first saw the book, I thought that it would be maybe 400 pages, but I'm not sure. Maybe the pages are thinner than normal. But yeah, 600 pages. I really had a lot of fun while reading it. I can understand why my girlfriend enjoyed this book so much. I wouldn't recommend this book to everyone I meet, but I would say a lot of people would enjoy this book if they tried to read it. Anyways, that's all I had to say, and thanks for watching. Ciao.